Hello, and welcome to another video. Today, I'll be showing you what I played in a Secrets of Strixhaven sealed deck RCQ. And in case you are not familiar, an RCQ is a regional championship qualifier. These are tournaments held at the local level where you're competing for an invitation to a regional championship. They're played at the competitive rules enforcement level, which is honestly kind of how I prefer to play Magic. So whenever these tournaments come up in a limited format, I will almost certainly play in them. But yeah, I will show you the deck that I played and talk about my thoughts on it. I'll show you my entire sideboard, which is all in here. I treated myself to some brand new dragon shields, which are so beautiful. And I'm kind of feeling like I want to shuffle up and draw some opening hands with you and talk through some decision points and stuff like that. I think it makes sense to do that before we go ahead and deconstruct everything. But I want you to have the context of everything that's in the deck before we look at opening hands and stuff. So, I think I'm gonna cut this and then put it toward the end of the video so everything is in a logical order for you. And, yeah, you get it. So, let's get right into it. I'll just take a moment to unsleeve everything and lay it all out for you. So here is the deck that I played. I ended up going Abzan, though I was primarily Witherbloom. Honestly, going into the tournament, I was kind of hoping not to be Witherbloom. I had a fairly unimpressive performance at the pre-release when I was also in Witherbloom. And I had been playing some traditional sealed tournaments on Arena to prepare for this, and was seeing some success in things like Jeskai Control or straight up Lore Hold. So I was kind of hoping to be able to go in that direction. But when I was initially looking through the pool, and I saw Delian Fell and Silverquill, Emeritus of Abundance, I figured Abzan would probably have to be the direction I would go. I never really went through the pool to pull out all the rares and look at them all together. But I think this was probably the highest concentration of rares that this pool had to offer. If you've never played sealed with a deck list, the way it works is you receive your entire pool of cards sorted by color and then alphabetically. Rarity isn't a factor at all. So I usually just go through and consider each color and think about what might be the best combination for what I'm seeing there. But yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rares, I think. So that's quite a bit. I mean, just being rares doesn't necessarily mean that they're good for sealed, but in this case, I think they were pretty decent. But anyway, with this, I went 2-2-1 and ended in 10th place. So not good enough for top 8, unfortunately. And I don't know how I feel about this. I do certainly think it has potential and has some very powerful elements, but there were some very real shortcomings. You'll notice that the curve tops out at 4. The advantage is you're likely going to be able to cast everything and easily double spell in the mid to late game. The drawback is sometimes your stuff just isn't going to be big enough. I did my best to offset that by running things that would add counters to creatures to try and help them grow. But things like a Slumbering Trudge or a Fractal Mascot just walk right over that. A large Terrafractal becomes a significant threat. I did have a colorless Archaic that I would sideboard in if I felt like I needed a larger creature. But I guess the thought behind me registering this as the main deck was just trying to get in quickly and be able to cast all of my spells. I guess kind of try and behave like an aggro deck, even though I don't think I would call this one. It certainly didn't behave like one. I always kind of felt like I was a step behind, a little too slow despite having a very low curve. Not very impervious to disruption. Though some of that was certainly my fault, by not being careful enough. There were multiple times that I walked Silverquill right into an Essence Scatter, which I should have been way more careful about. I was just trying to land him as soon as possible, so if I could cast him on turn 4, I was trying to go for it, knowing that the longer I waited, the more likely my opponent would be to have an answer for it. But just trying to get him out there early didn't really work for me. And at least I did kind of have a backup plan with Regrowth and the Osteomancer. If I had to trade things off or if they got countered. Though Exile is certainly a thing in this set, and that did impact me as well. If I could register this again, I think I probably would not run Locust Spray. My hope is that I would be able to trade more profitably, or save one of my creatures in combat, or just cycle it away to draw a card. I think cycling was the only thing I ever did with this, and at that point I was just wondering why I wasn't running an actual card instead of this. But, yeah. Like I said, I think this deck certainly had potential. These 2-mana spells were all really good. I liked both of my 3-mana spells. Delian Fell was really good. He did just about everything I would hope for in these colors. Silver Quill being a 4/4 flying vigilant creature was great. When he wasn't busy being essence scattered, he was a very effective creature. I never took advantage of his casualty ability. I thought I might be able to if I had a couple pests around or something, but never really ended up happening. Abigail was quite good, and I was happy running that. For me, Black was only ever putting counters on himself, but still a great above-rate creature that grows over time. And I really enjoyed the Scheming Silver Tongue. With only 1 power of lifelink, it does need a little bit of assistance to become prepared, but if you can get a counter on this, not only is the life gap widening, you're doing Sign in Blood pretty much every turn. And when you're drawing that many cards, you should be able to close out from there. So that was the main deck. Next, we can take a look at the on-color sideboard. Oh yeah, this is the promo we got for playing. This is the Archaic I was siding in pretty aggressively. Alright. These are the potential cards that I could have sided in. Like I mentioned, I brought in that guy and Barag Barrage. Don't think I brought in anything else. I know I considered a Johnny's response, but didn't end up doing it. And then for everything else, I had seriously been considering running Prismari as well. I just thought the spell quality was really good here. But I guess I wasn't really confident enough to follow through with that. You can kind of see here that I had been experimenting with building out that deck, but anyway. I hope this was at least somewhat helpful, maybe. I think I saw that there's going to be an arena direct going up this weekend, so I know I didn't really talk much about my specific matchups, but I feel like this format has potential to be really punishing if you don't have early action, either by casting creatures or removing them. Like I mentioned earlier, my greatest success was building something like a Jeskai or Prismari control deck, which was really just a lot of removal and a lot of tempo, and I found that served me really well. One of the decks that I struggled against in this tournament was another Witherbloom deck that was literally running like 10 pieces of removal. And they also had the same planeswalker that I had, which is also removal. I was never able to get a creature to stick around long enough to do anything. I struggled against a teamer deck. That one had the green paradigm, both games that we played. And once that thing goes off, then it becomes pretty impossible to come back from, I think. But yeah, let's get over to the playtesting portion, and then I'll close out from there. Alright, so let's give this a good shuffle and then draw some opening hands. Alright. Yeah. I think this looks fine. We are missing white for the render speechless, but we've got shared roots, so we should be all set. I'll assume we're on the play, Okay. We'll play that out and gain a life. Okay. So this is our Sign in Blood creature. I think we hold on to this for turn 4 to play alongside Shared Roots. And we'll just get Black out there for turn 3. Trigger the Lumerate. Trigger Black. I'm sure our opponent is doing a bunch of stuff, so probably doesn't make much sense to go further than this. But I assume we're casting these two. We'll trigger the Lumerate. And Shared Roots will go get a Plains. Silver Tongue is really going to help Black increment each turn. And as long as we can continue to play creatures, the Lumerate is going to help the Silver Tongue become prepared. When we render speechless, we could put the counters on the Silver Tongue so it can start enabling itself. So yeah, let's try another. Interesting. So, we can cast everything, but we don't have any action before turn 3, which is a little concerning. But let's just run with it. Get a swamp out. Never punished. So let's play that. So here is a decision. Abigail isn't a consideration because we don't have white, but we can cast one of these. Black we can play pre-combat, just like we talked about last time. As long as we can continue to attack with Silver Tongue, then Black will continue to grow every turn. Or we could play the Shopkeeper's Bane, and as long as we can attack next turn, we can immediately turn on the Sign in Blood. So I think it really depends on what's going on the other side of the board. If we need a good blocker, then we can just go with Black. But if the coast is relatively clear, I think I would go with Shopkeeper's Bane. I don't really care about it surviving its attack, as long as it means we can get ahead on cards, and hopefully at least take down another creature. So just imagining we can do that. Okay. We can play our land for turn. And we can hold up Wander Off in case something dumb happens. We can attack with this and gain our 2 life. Assume it probably dies. At the beginning of our next main phase, we'll become prepared. And let's just Sign in Blood now. Okay. We'll cast our Shared Roots now and go get a Plains. And then we're good to go with anything else in our hand. If we draw a land next turn, we can cast 2 of our 3 mana spells. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, let's try one more opening hand, and then we can close out. So we have our splash color, but no green. Abigail is the only thing we can cast, but if we draw any 1 land, we can unlock Wander Off. My concern is that it would be a tapped land and then we're just going really slow. Or we continue to draw cards in green and can never really prepare Abigail until it's way too late. So I might throw this one back, honestly. And Yeah, that would have been pretty tough. Oh wow, a lot of the same cards. Yeah, I think we keep. Turn 2, we can cast one of these. I think if we don't draw into a swamp, then we do shared roots. And if we do, or if we need a body, then we'll do the biomancer. And we can try and hold up shared roots for a plains. But let's start with a forest. Okay. That is quite an awkward draw. I guess I'll do it now. I don't really like that, but whatever. So we could do black or do the biomancer and hold up locust spray to either use or cycle. But I assume we'll just do black now, and we'll hold up the biomancer so we can use it to trigger black a little bit later. Interesting. So we've got our regrowth creature, or we could cast Eternal Student if we wanted. We could cast the biomancer and either shared roots or locust spray, but probably depends on what's going on. So yeah. That will do it for today. I really appreciate you sticking with me, and I would love to hear about how the set has been going for you so far. Are you planning on playing in the Arena Direct, or did you already? Let's hear it. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit that like button, and please consider subscribing if you haven't already. I put out new Magic the Gathering ASMR videos every Monday and Friday. I truly appreciate all of your support, and I hope you have a wonderful day.